お昼はお昼昼you go.
Hi there, Jennifer Lico. Welcome back to a Celtic episode. And this is episode number 13, where I'm going into part 2 of my 5 reasons to get excited about Scottish culture. So if you remember last week, we talked about the Highland dancing, and that was reason number 1 to get excited about Scottish culture. So today we're jumping into reason number 2. And reason number 2 is the Great Highland Bagpipes. So the bagpipes began as an instrument of war, but it's actually still kind of a mystery as to where the pipes actually came from. Most scholars believed that it traveled all the way from Egypt by invading Roman legions. Now, I did not know this. I did a little bit of research and read this, and actually it made sense after I thought about it, but it kind of shocked me when I first read it. We do know that the bagpipes have existed in many forms in many places all over the world. However, it was the Highlanders who developed the instrument to its current form. And they were also a group that really established the bagpipes as their national musical instrument during both war and during peace. So today you can find pipe bands all over the world competing, as well as solo pipers competing. Now, a bit of a spoiler alert, but I think you'll find this to be good news because I am not a Highland bagpipe expert. So the good news is I will be doing an interview really soon with the director of the Scottish Heritage Center and the instructor of the college pipe band at St. Andrew's Presbyterian College in Laurinburg, North Carolina. And if anybody knows a little bit about Scottish history, you know that that is in Scotland County, and it's actually a very historic place for Scottish history in North Carolina. So Mr. Bill Caudill will actually go a bit deeper into information and history about the pipes. But since I haven't done the interview yet, there is still time to add some questions to my interview with him. So if you have a question about the bagpipes, please just email me at celticjourney@jenniferlico.com. And I've included the email in the show notes below. Now, as I said, I'm not an expert on bagpipes, but my first interaction with the pipes was due to Highland dance when I was competing in Highland dance as a child. But what was really cool is that years later, when I began studying Scots Gaelic in Scotland, I could hear the language the way the pipes were played. So because I'd spent so many years dancing to these rhythms, learning to sing tunes in Scots Gaelic felt natural to me. So Gaelic language was a huge influence on the music of Scotland. And I've been told, and actually, in fact, I witnessed it at Keolis. Keolis was a music camp in South Uist where I went to several summers, and I witnessed this happening where the instrumental tunes were taught first by learning to sing them in Gaelic. And then they learned to play it on their instrument. And the reasoning behind this was that when they play it on their instrument, they already know how the rhythms should naturally feel and naturally be because they've been singing it. So there's no doubt that the sound of the pipes is emotional and very powerful. This is a sound that really identifies Scottish culture, and it's certainly one that can't be missed. So for any teachers out there who want to grab a teachable moment in this video, I have some information for you about the actual mechanics of the bagpipe. So here we have a chart of the bagpipe, and I'm going to go through each part and explain the function. So we have the blowpipe. The bagpiper will blow air from his mouth to fill up the bag using this blowpipe, which is attached to the bag. So the player has to continuously fill the bag to produce a sound from the pipes. This takes a lot of physical strength. Here we have the bass drone. The drone creates that characteristic low humming sound that sustains throughout the entire performance. The bass drone produces a tone that's actually 1 octave below that of the tenor drones to make it a really large sound. So now let's talk about those tenor drones. There are 2 tenor drones and they're tuned 1 octave above the bass drone, and this sound travels out through the top of the drones. So you actually have 3 drones going at the same time, and that really creates a solid foundation. Now we talked about how the player has to blow air into the bag. This bag is continuously filled with air, and once the bag is filled, the player must squeeze air out of the bag using his arm. So this pushes the air through the chanter and drone reeds so that it makes a sound. So a constant and steady arm pressure must be applied to the bag in order to sustain a steady tone from the drones. Again, this is no easy feat. Now the chanter. The pipe chanter is the part of the pipes that is responsible for creating the melody notes. So the player's going to hold the chanter while using his fingers on the chanter, and it's similar to playing a clarinet. He'll cover up holes and uncover holes with a finger to create a different note. So there are 8 holes and 9 notes on the chanter. And lastly, the stocks. The stocks are tied into cut holes in the bag just to secure the chanter, the blowpipe, and the drones together with the bag. So now that we've gone through how a bagpipe functions, I even have a download for you. It's a chart, just like you've seen here, listing out all the different parts. And I have a blank chart for your students to fill out. And I also have a PDF of all of these functions explained. So this Celtic episode was brought to you today by Highland Echoes. And Highland Echoes is the show that's telling Scotland's passionate history through music and dance. I will see you next week for reason number 3 out of 5 reasons to get excited about Scottish culture. Until then, Marcia Letty.